Here's part 2, during a crisis, for the Exercising for Crisis Communications module. The response phase has its own elements to consider, even exercising during it. Now is the time to not only utilize all the POETE work done beforehand, but also to continue to prepare the crisis communications team with the possibility of a what-if exercise or two, in order to cover possible contingencies. What if the feedback from social media were to turn negative? What if some other disaster occurred at the same time? There are lots of possibilities for what can go wrong even further than the original crisis. You may want to bring in an outside contractor to facilitate and manage the exercise based on the scenario and elements that you want to cover. During the response to the crisis, continue to document the time and resources being used, including any costs for externally produced or facilitated exercises. This is important for human resources, paid time off calculations, possibly even submission to the government for reimbursement or cost share. This is also the time to capture how new equipment, systems, and technology was used. It may be useful for future scenarios. Capture also the roadblocks and challenges your team has faced related to any exercises conducted during the response, and to think of both the quick fixes and longer-term improvements needed, hopefully of which will be approved by your management team for the next crisis. In many after-action reports, people indicated that they did not have enough training for the situation they were in, and they wanted more just-in-time education and assistance. Now it's your turn again to practice. Please draft an exercise request for the team, which would occur during the response phase, using whatever consulting or outside service request, process, or forms your organization uses. This will most likely be different for emergencies versus normal day-to-day operations. This is not like the normal bid process many organizations have for purchases. Include in this request any technical or logistic specs you would need. Can it be facilitated remotely? Does access to internal organization webinar software like Zoom or MS Teams need to be granted to the outside facilitator? Does it need to be done in person? Where would the consultant stay overnight near your location? This will help prepare your team to understand now how these requests will be made during a crisis. Plus, it will help document the steps, forms, approvals, etc. needed as part of your crisis communications team plan. Review the template we provided in the class project section and use MS Word to update appendix number 7, which is the additional externally facilitated, that is consultant run, exercise request process forms appendix. It's a long title. Don't add any proprietary information such as real names or cell numbers to the version that you post to the Barton Do Not blog post section. The value here is to show others what your organization's process is to obtain external exercises, including the different types or levels of exercises you think is needed for your crisis communications team.